listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about letting life unfold. Now, sometimes that's easier said than done, right? We get anxious, we get excited, we want things now, and boy, patience is a virtue, they say. And honestly, sometimes you have to be patient to let life unfold, but that's kind of the mysterious side of life, the exciting of who knows what's going to come, right? That keeps us on the edge of our seat. So that's what we're talking about today. Feel free to call in at 800-333-0001. Also, we are going to be having an inspirational guest in our next segment, Laura Cadoux, who is going to be very courageous today, sharing her journey with bipolar 1 and kind of what that is like, the highs and the lows and just the different times in her life that she's had to make really big choices. So listen for that. And again, it's all about empowering you to take today, walking away from the show, and just making an adjustment in your life so that you can thrive, so that you can soar higher than you did yesterday. And it's not always easy, but that's why we do this show. We do it so that we can all learn from each other and our inspirational guests. Now, I am getting word here shortly from our producer that we will be having a caller on, so we're going to be coming back to that in a second. But I just wanted to let you all know that if you do want to hear today's show again, make sure you go to livingfullout.com. All of our episodes will be waiting there for you. And I share that with you because, I heard your show the other day. I want to share it with a friend. Where can I find it? Go to livingfullout.com. Also, if you have, your iPhone or your Android, you can go to the App Store and look out for Living Full Out Radio and listen to us on the go. Now, our producer is giving me the word that we have that caller on, so we're going to go check in with them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. What's going on? How can we help you?
Well, I would like to know how do I find the motivation to continue my education?
So why are you lacking motivation? What's blocking you?
Well, for one, I'm 50, and I feel like that maybe I'm too old to go back to school.
You know what? I love that you're 50 going to school. I love it. You're 50 young. But you know what? Besides that, now you and I both know this. For all the people that go to school right at 18, 19, 20, all of that, and they're focused and they're driven and they get that major and they get that career and woof, they're off and running, that's a very small percentage of people. A lot of times when you're younger, you don't know what you want to do. And so the great thing is we're talking today about letting life unfold. You've done that. Like you know yourself. So when you pay for college, you're paying for it based upon what you know about yourself, your passions, your heart's desire. So, you can't go back in time, but I promise you are a better version of yourself as a student today. You're going to spend every bit of those college dollars wisely. So what do you want to do? It's a new day. It's turning a new page. What do you want to do?
Well, I've heard a lot about young girls learning coding, and I'm telling you, I am not a techie person at all, so I would like to learn how to code. I think that's kind of where our country is going with everything online, and that's really my weakness, and so
But there's a lot of power. There's a lot of power there, right? Because you will go to school, you will learn how to code, and you might be really good at it or moderately good at it, but you will learn it. Now, let's say I, down the line, want to learn coding. I'm going to relate more to you as my teacher. I'm going to come to you because you're very authentic, right? You're telling me the story about, how intimidating it is today. But then fast forward when you start coaching, teaching other people, you're going to be able to say, but you know what? When I started taking classes, I realized, how much more sense it made. So consider the fact of maybe journaling during this time when you go to school. Document how you feel today. Document the wins that you have when you do really well on an exam. Document times where you get frustrated, because I don't know about you, but tech makes my hair go gray, right? It is kind of stressful. So the thing is when you journal it now, fast forward down the line, whether you make it a big career or hobby or whatever level, now you have all of this that you can share with people, that journey you went on. And I bet you're going to be great at it. I really do. I'm excited for you, but I want you to be excited for you.
Yeah, well, I hope I can. It has been my goal for a while because I know that that's where technology is going, and I see all my kids at their computer all the time, whether it's doing their homework or writing. I don't know. I just feel like they're at their computers all the time. I'd like to be a part of that.
I really think that this nervous energy, this I hope, it's good energy. You just want to channel it into learning, being arms wide open, mind wide open. You're like a sponge willing to soak it all up, right? And then just kind of see at the end of the class what that leads you into. Maybe you're an assistant. Maybe you open your own business. Maybe you just do it with your girls as a hobby. But the main thing is have fun. I think you're putting a little bit too much stress on yourself, okay? But I believe in you. You're going to do great. Okay?
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. And, go out there, live full out. Go code. Okay? Thank you. Have a great day. Bye. Love that she has that, kind of intimidation, but yet I know she's going to go to school and she's going to do great things. It's just whenever we try something new for the first time, it always seems intimidating. But again, we're talking about letting life unfold, and you just got to roll the dice like you're in Vegas and see what you get, see what happens. So we're now going to go back to the phone lines and check in with another caller. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show. Hi, thank you for calling in. How can I help you? For some reason, I think we're having a technical issue with that caller, so we'll come back to them. So talking about today's topic, when we're thinking about letting life unfold, a lot of times, again, people are like, okay, Nancy, you can tell me that, but it's too scary. So here's what I want you to think about. With anything that you're pondering, go think about the worst case scenario. People laugh at you, people point at you, you lose money, there's conflict, just worst case scenario. Right? Give it its moment in the spotlight, acknowledge it, but then remember that is actually just fear. It's just false evidence appearing real. It hasn't happened yet. And for something that hasn't happened yet, it's one of those things where you can't control. It hasn't happened, right? So you got to just let it go and focus on what you can control. So that might be taking classes, just like our last caller. That might be getting an accountability partner. That might be journaling, keeping track of your emotions. It's really important that as you go through life, that you don't put so much pressure on yourself. I hear it all the time from coaching clients, and it's zone in the woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? In that gray zone. So how to get out of that is get this breath of life. I am so lucky that I do have some passions. I have supporters in my life, and I'm going to go for it. And you know what? If I try something and it doesn't work out, you can try it again, or you can try something new. And I think oftentimes we get stuck in life is we think that it has to be one way, that, I must be in public relations. I must get married. But why must you? There's so much color and variety of life, and that's what keeps it spicy. And again, we get people that call in all the time and a relationship doesn't work out. That's okay. What did you learn from that relationship? How did you grow? It's all about moving forward and really letting life unfold in a big way. So stay with us. We're going to be coming right back with our inspirational guest, Laura Cadoux, talking about how she is letting life unfold while having bipolar 1. Stay with us. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show, and we'll be right back after this break. Think about where in your life you want to let your life unfold so that you can thrive and really be proud of all that you've accomplished. It is never too late, and let's take that first step today. We'll be right back.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I'm Nancy Solari, Certified Life and Business Coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Boot Camp. During the boot camp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar. I was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road.
And all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road.
It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
It happened so quickly, the cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about letting life unfold. Sometimes you just got to let go and hope for the best, and other times we have to find ways to manage our life, to kind of crack the code on how we have to function, even when we may have conditions that are out of our control in some respects. So we always strive to bring inspirational guests that really have lived full out in their life despite overcoming a challenge. And Laura Cadoux is a perfect example of that. And, struggling with bipolar 1, we're going to find out from her, what is that? And what is it like to live with that condition? So I'd like to very much welcome Laura to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
Happy to have you
here.
So first of all, before we get into your story, bipolar 1, in a quick bit, what is that?
It's categorized as a mood disorder, so it is a mental illness, and it really is punctuated by periods of depression and mania, and sometimes those can occur simultaneously, called a mixed condition. But I guess I could be categorized as lucky in that most of the time it's either one or the other, so if you call that lucky. Basically it's that.
Well, and you really have had a ride. Boy, year 25 was a tough one for you. But I know,
really was.
I know that, you had successes, though. You went to college, you had a boyfriend, you had a successful job at Nordstrom's and ADP, and just, you were thriving. But you didn't realize that underneath all of those milestones in life that you were trying to nip away at was this bipolar starting to kind of rise up within you. And, your kind of manic side had you wisping off to France, right? You're buying a new car, you're doing all these things. And then all of a sudden it can be a low. And, it may seem romantic, everybody, that she went off to Europe and she bought a new car. And it even made your mom was even like, wow, my daughter's really doing it, right? But what was it like to go from that extreme high to the very, very low?
Well, unfortunately, as high as you ride the roller coaster up, it can slide back down just as fast. So it's pretty exhilarating when you first get this manic energy. You feel like you're on fire, like everything just seems to be simply flowing and you are just taking risks and chances, and it all sounds like such a great idea at the time. Overspending, overindulging. Like you said, I went off to Europe and I really didn't have any money to substantiate that, but it just sounded like such a great idea. And in hindsight, now that I'm quite a bit older, I'm glad I did that then, but I did have to pay the price when I got back home.
Well, bipolar or no bipolar, they say when it rains, it pours, right? And it started pouring for you because at 25, obviously, your parents ended up moving. You had lived in California and they were moving to Washington, and your job wasn't going so well. It was stressful, and you decided to move with them to Washington, but now you had no connection, no friends, no job. And quite frankly, it was probably really hard to just get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, I really remember that every day my pinpoint, I guess if you would say, as a successful day is that I had breakfast, I took a walk, I took a nap, I'd come home and read a little bit and do it all over again the next day. And quite frankly, that was all I could do. I went from such a rise and I was doing so well to such a fall. It was really a struggle.
Well, and it must have been exciting when you started to feel like your normal self again, whatever normal feels like, because I don't think anything's normal in life anymore these days, but you started to kind of get Laura back. And you said, you know what, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get another job at Nordstrom's. But they didn't really have anything fun for you, anything that really challenged you, but you took it anyway. And you did fight to get your life back. And you did feel rather on point again. but then one day you're like, I don't want to go to work, which I think a lot of us feel that way, but you actually did not go to work. And so I'm just wondering, as we then go on another upswing, how long do these highs and lows last? Could they be weeks? Could they be months?
Unmanaged and without any medication and counseling, they can last quite a bit. However, for me, it was almost as if I can recall it so vividly. It was a morning I went to work and I said, I'm not going to work today. And then I was having all these delusional thoughts of, watching a video and thinking the video was talking to me and telling me to go to a park. And I remember it was such a vivid memory. I'm closing my eyes now because I feel like I can exactly know what was going on. However, I was delusional. I was not in my right mind.
And I mean, you were getting messages from the devil that you should, throw out anything black and red. You were dancing with your roommate thinking she was your father. I mean, really,
correct.
Many, and that must be really scary when you think about it now, because such an out-of-body experience in the sense of just not in control.
Yes. I remember I didn't want to go to sleep because I thought if I went to sleep, I would die. So I stayed up all night, which is never a good idea because, as we know, sleep is a very important component to health. But I didn't sleep. And then that just made it unravel even further.
Yeah. And your mother and your father were there for you as much as they could be, but I think it's probably also very confusing for others because you don't know what this is. You hadn't been actually diagnosed it yet, and they don't know what it is. So I imagine it was a lot of confusion on all sides.
Yeah, my dad was convinced that I was taking drugs, and I wasn't, but that just shows you how the brain can dysfunction to a point where it almost seems as if you are high on something, which is it's really crazy when you think about it, that the chemistry in my brain was so off that it made it seem as if I was, like on some kind of a drug, like a trip.
Yeah. And I imagine it was unnerving because now you needed help. You needed a doctor, you needed a hospital, and I know that you didn't want to go there. You wanted to try to fix this and manage it on your own. But like so many conditions, at some point, they kind of do start to get away from us, and we have to pull it back and get it back on track. So stay with us, Laura. We're going to talk more about your story and the help that you did eventually get. And for everybody listening today, well, her story is related to being bipolar 1. I have retinitis pigmentosa. We all have something. But at the same time, it's how we manage it. It's getting support. It's maybe getting medication, getting sleep, as Laura said. And when we talk about letting life unfold, we have to have all of that lined up, all of that support to keep us on track on those days that are difficult, that are scary. So stay with us. It's all about living full out today. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that energize you. And sound. But there are some sounds. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac.
They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about letting life unfold. And how do we do that when sometimes there's so many elements that we can't control and influences? Well, our inspirational guest today, Laura Cadoux, is someone who had to make those difficult decisions along her path of having bipolar 1. And I'd like to welcome Laura back to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
Happy to have you. Now, I wish the topic was more fun. I wish you and I were heading off to Europe, right? But the thing is I am so proud of you for talking on this topic because, mental health is something that we all go through. Even depression at even the everyday level can be a form of it versus what you went through, being bipolar 1 with the manic and the highs and the lows. And so I just give you all the credit in the world for sharing your story with us. And thank you for being here. And I oftentimes we touched on this. You're telling us about the story where you were delusional and you were acting out and your parents didn't know what to do and you didn't know what to do. And, like so many families, I think they wanted to protect you and, they didn't want you to have to go to a hospital. But then ultimately you did eventually get yourself there and you had to get to that crossroad where you had to sign yourself in. How hard was that?
It was such a surreal moment because although I was not really, in my right mind, I knew that this was sort of like the point of no return. And I knew that once I signed in, then I would have that history behind me that I'd been in a mental hospital. And so I was really hesitant to sign in. And I remember I'd pick up the pen and then I would say, I don't think I want to do this. And my parents literally begged and pled with me, please sign in, because if you don't, then you're under the ordinance of the state or the hospital there, and you're under their control. So it's really best to sign yourself in. And so eventually, because I trusted my parents so much and I could just tell that they were so anguished, I finally signed in.
You finally did it. And, a lot of times we see in movies these hospital wards or mental hospitals, and that's not always the true example. But, what was scary about it, but what was also helpful about it?
Well, the hard part about my first hospitalization, and I'm going to emphasize my first because I've been several times now, was that I was so amped up that they had to give me so much medication to calm me down that I literally think I slept for like 2 days straight. So the first experience was rather fuzzy, but I do recall that I met other people in there that I guess you could categorize were going through a hard time, but not necessarily categorize them as the things you would see on a movie, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So it's really a mix of everything. You get people in there that are homeless. You get people in there that are struggling with depression, which is very different than someone who's manic. And I need to, put that into everyone's mind that manic depression is oftentimes very polarizing. Just by the name itself, it's bipolar. So some people are in there because they're really down and other people are really up. So you get a little bit of everything.
Well, and I think it's important because you've been there. You've been to multiple hospitals, so you can tell us the truth. And and again, you did have these highs and these lows, and it is fuzzy, that first hospital visit. But by doing that, you actually met a therapist that when you were an outpatient, you worked with ongoing for quite a while, and I think even today. And so how important is it for someone dealing with bipolar, dealing with depression, to get that therapy, to have that person they can talk to?
I have to say that there are several things that I found help me, but the very primary thing that I think helped me was a confidence in someone I could talk about my problems with. And it takes time to find that right one. So I want to encourage people, if they want a therapist and they don't click with the first one, go and find a different one. There are a lot of them out there, but once you find the right one, you feel such a kinship with them and they know your story so well that you can just tell them anything. And by their by the definition of their profession, they cannot speak about your situation with others. So you feel very comfortable opening up.
And in addition to having a therapist, what have you been your other go-tos that have helped you, minimize the triggers?
Well, it's been, a lot of work, and I want to emphasize that if you want to get better with this illness, it takes a lot of work. And I've put in so much work by reading a lot of books about the subject and other people's experiences. I've journaled many, 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 many times in many, many books. I actually led a support group so that I could help other people. And while I was there leading the support group, keep in mind I was also someone who was going through the experiences myself. I think there is a lot of help in doing what they call cognitive behavioral therapy, and it helps to eliminate the all or nothing thinking that comes with bipolar. And also, I know that it's very controversial to take medication, but you need to take medication to get this under control, and it should be prescribed by a psychiatrist, not a primary care doctor. because I believe that someone who's only put in, say, 2 weeks of study on the brain, but has worked on primary care, does not understand the components of what this illness is all about. But that being said, if you can work through it without medication, then that is a personal choice. But for me, when I went to go to Trader Joe's and get a bunch of vitamins because I thought I don't need my medication, I ended up having my second stay at a different hospital.
Well, and that's very honest, right? Because I think our human instincts are to try to do it ourselves, but it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to need medication. It's okay to need therapy. And I'm just curious, when you're out there in the world and, people don't always say the right thing. They do put their foot in their mouth. There's a lot of times for me that people will say, oh my gosh, I'm so blind without my contacts in. And I kind of think to myself, well, they really don't know what blind is like until you're really blind.
Yeah.
But I understand that, we know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. But with mental health, it's such a buzzword and people really do kind of say the wrong thing. How do you handle that?
I've lived with it. I was thinking about this. I've lived on this planet more years with the diagnosis than not. And I've really, a sense of humor is actually very important. So when someone says they're so crazy, I don't take it personally. I don't. I feel like that's just silly to take things too personally. I think it took me a long, long time to get to a point where I wanted to talk about this because there's so much stigma attached to mental illness even now. But I do try to handle things with a sense of humor.
Yeah. Do you worry that it'll ever get worse? Or do you think, you know what, I've got this. I've got my team. I've got my tools.
Mm-hmm. No, I never feel like this is completely managed, although I'm not experiencing any kind of symptoms now. When I'm under too much stress is when it triggers this illness. Mm-hmm. I can say that's the number one thing that I have to stay away from. So I want to also let everyone know that, I've managed to work a part-time job in a very large healthcare company now for 13 years, which I'm very proud of to say that because I've held down a job. But really the key component was that I said part-time. So I've noticed for me, when I work full-time, I get too stressed out and then I can get sick again. And it's happened. So every time I think, oh, I've got this, I'm going to work full-time, I can do this. Nope, I get sick again.
You know what? I love that you mentioned that tip because I feel the same way with my eyes. I would love, love, love to become a night owl and go and live life all night long. But, I find that my eyes get tired and they sometimes make me feel, a little off balance or a little foggy brain, right? Because our eyes and our neurological, it's all our compass, right? So I get it. It's really about understanding your body to the best of your ability that you can. And so, Laura, what does living full out mean to you?
Well, I realized that if you take chances in life, most of the time you land on your feet. I think we're a lot more like cats than we think. We can land on our feet. We just have to take chances. And I feel that I've taken a lot of chances in my life. And I'm proud to say that I have. And by doing this interview with you, I feel like I'm taking one more chance. I'm stepping out and being truthful about my condition. And I just think that if we say yes more often than no, our life will unfold magically.
Well said. Well said. Well, thank you very much for being on today's show and courageously telling your story, but also just being really honest with our audience, but also yourself. And you're doing it. So you just keep on going down that path. And thank you again for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you. And
Have
everybody thank you. And everybody, that was Laura Cadoux. I encourage you to continue to follow her and her progress because she's living with it today. And that's the magical thing about really all the guests that we have because they're so honest and so courageous, and they bring their everyday woes to our show and how they manage and how they survive. So if you're dealing with something in your life, could be a health condition, a disability, maybe you had an accident, we'd love to hear from you and perhaps have you on the show as an inspirational guest. Just make sure to go to connect@livingfullout.com, share with us what happened, make sure to give us your contact info. We'd very much like to hear from you. And to stay further inspired, make sure you check us out on social media, because just like Laura, we tell multiple people's stories a week, and anything we can do to get you motivated and keep you living full out in the strongest, best way you can. So today we are talking about letting life unfold. And again, it's just taking steps every day towards your goal and also managing those stresses along the way. So stay with us. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment.
Hey, guys, check out my new video game.
Mom, what?
Huh?
Pew, pew. What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
Football
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When it comes to letting life unfold, it's really important to always have that vision for what you're shooting for. What do you want most in life? But then along the way, believe in yourself. Find others in your life to support you, to catch you when you fall, and lift you up when you need it. That's what it means to live full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about letting life unfold. And I really want everybody to remember, again, have fun, enjoy life. There's always going to be stressful moments. There's always going to be times that we fall or make a mistake. But then there are good times that somebody says something and you just belt out laughing and uncontrollably, right? Those are good moments. Or a moment when you surprise yourself and you do better than you thought you would. But it's going to be highs and lows. It's just kind of the way that life is. So you got to put on your seatbelt and you got to just kind of drive along. Be prepared for knowing that the unexpecteds will come, but also kind of have a destination in mind. What are you shooting for? What is your heart's desire? Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. Let's go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for calling in. How can I help you?
Yeah, my question is regarding during this quarantine and social distancing time, your thoughts around how to continue to build trust and maintain trust in a relationship.
So the person that you're talking about, I imagine you don't live together. Or do you live anywhere close to each other, or different states, different cities?
Same city, just different areas, and because of different situations, keeping separate because of quarantine and the social distancing necessary for other people in my life to maintain safe health. So,
So when you say trust, do you not trust their actions when you're not with them, or do you not trust them being safe and wearing a mask and all that good stuff?
Just trust on I think on both sides. There's been some trust issues and different things because of background, and some things happened early in the relationship. So
Gotcha.
Now, when you get to quarantine, and you kind of have the social distance, makes it a little bit more difficult to kind of continue to build trust. So that's kind of where looking for some advice on how to deal with that and keep positive moving forward.
Well, so here's the thing. I'll be really honest with you, right? I mean, somebody is innocent until proven guilty, right? I mean, you have to believe in people. You have to trust people until they prove you otherwise. Now, it is important to be eyes wide open, ears wide open. And a lot of times, we're talking today about letting life unfold. If somebody is going to cheat, whether that be romantically or on a diet or whatever, things do come out. They do unfold. And what you want to consider, and all that you can ever control in life, is you. Okay? Meaning that you want to wake up every day and be the most trusting, the most not naive person you can be. You want to be a forgiving person. You want to be a loving person. You want to be that person that gives people maybe a second chance or a third chance. That's okay, but within reason, right? That's all you can control. If somebody is going to do something untrustworthy, that's kind of on them, and it will linger in their mind. It will linger in their heart, and it may come out. But I believe in the good in people. I believe that people can change. I believe that people who maybe mess up once, it's not that they should be, never forgiven. So I think that your question is a really important one, but I just want you to walk away from this conversation with you and I knowing that you get to be who you want to be. And at some point, if they prove you differently, if things seem shady, if they don't have answers, then you have to trust your instincts. Can you do that?
Oh, yes, I can. Thank you very much. That's very good input.
You know what? I like you. You got a good heart of gold for asking that question. And the thing is I do believe good things come to good people. So you just hang in there, okay? Believe in that person, love that person, give them every benefit of the doubt, but then ultimately trust that instinct of yours, because I think it's led you to good places along the way. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. You got it. And thank you for calling in. And everybody listening today, it's all about letting life unfold, right? And how do we do that? We have to trust, right? We have to take chances. We have to have some idea of a destination we want to go to. What are our dreams? What are our goals? But knowing that from the start of an idea to it manifesting, there are going to be mistakes. There are going to be times we fail. There are going to be those bumps in the road. Just know that they're coming. But know that you have the ability to manage them. You have the ability to be positive. And that is what it means to live full out. Our entire Living Full Out family thanks you for listening. We have Rich and Eilish and Rebecca and Caleb and so many people that want to make sure that you are living your best life as full as it can be. It's all about letting your life unfold today and every day. Here's to you living your life full out. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.